Hello guys, is this for real? Just this afternoon, I just received someone in our group forwarded this Corona Unmasked. Now, I can't believe what's happening or what's going on. Today is the first day of the community lockdown here in the Philippines. While one of our GC forwarded this, but this is dated Corona Unmasked coming from a Chinese intelligence officer reveals true magnitude of China's fake coronavirus crisis. I can't believe this, but it was here. It is written here, copyright 2020, RD Morningstar. Yes, it is true. It was copyrighted by RD Morningstar. So, Wuhan virus was dropped. So, if you're going to think of it, for all we know, well, we are not sure yet. So, nakalagay lang dito sa internet na this was happened. This coming from the internet is one of the researcher on this vial, which is a chemical. Well, let me read this for you. This is edited by Robert D. Morningstar to free the Chinese people. Well, disclaimer, hindi ako sure kung bakit nila nilabas itong article na to. Kung ano ang reason nila. Why only now? This was just this article is dated February 13, 2020. O yeah, medyo late ang pagkaka-forward nito. So, today is March 15 already. So, hindi pa kasi masyadong ganun hindi pa tayo sure sa mga nakasulat ng mga article. Pero, nakakabahala din eh. Ngayon ko lang ito nabasa, itong article na to. I don't know kung totoo to, kung maniniwala ba ako or what, or just a propaganda. Sinasabi dito sa article na to, for the good and general welfare of the Chinese people and the world, permission is hereby granted to copy, quote, or reproduce this article with the link back in full or in part, with the hope that this revelation will help to free the Chinese populace and the citizens of Hong Kong from the evil that has befallen them. It was quoted here, I am a senior Chinese military intelligence officer and I know the truth about the coronavirus outbreak. It is far worse than the media are telling me. And I am a Chinese citizen in Wuhan who occupies or perhaps occupied a high-ranking position in military intelligence. I am also a member of the Chinese, quote-unquote, coming from, edited by Robert D. Morningstar. Let me start again. I am a Chinese citizen in Wuhan who occupies or perhaps occupied a high-ranking position in military intelligence. I am also a member of the Chinese Communist Party. As a senior official near the top of the party, I have access to a great deal of classified information and I have been involved in many top-secret government projects. I have a doctorate from a leading university in a Western country, which is why I am able to write my account in English. So, ito si isang Chinese citizen to. Siya i-reveal niya yung coronavirus na outbreak daw ay Corona unmasked Chinese intelligence officer reveals true magnitude of Chinese fake coronavirus crisis. So, hindi talaga siya coronavirus. Sinabi lang nila na ito ay coronavirus. So, let me proceed. Quote unquote again, I will not surprise you to hear that if my identity were to be revealed, my life would be in great danger. As would those of my wife and son, I ask you to respect the fact that I have stripped out of this account all facts that would make it easy to identify me. Alam naman natin na itong recent outbreak ng 2019 NCO, also known as NCP or simply coronavirus, you will have heard that it originated in Wuhan, an industrial city in China, and that it came from an animal, most likely a bat or pangolin, that was sold in a wild animal market. You will have been told that it is an influenza-like illness that can, in severe cases, cause pneumonia, respiratory failure, and death. Finally, you may have heard that although the disease is highly infectious, it is dangerous only to the elderly or to those who have compromised immune system. And officially, lethality rate is approximately 2% or so. All of that is a bunch of lies concocted by the Chinese state with the tacit support of the US, deep state and its friends in the European Union, Russia, and Australia, and is spread by the docile media in all of those countries. Let me start by telling you that the world does not operate the way you think it does, although countries like US and China vie for global dominance. That competition is restricted to certain limited areas. In most ways, the two countries are more interested in cooperation so that they can stop other competing countries from gaining more power. They also have a shared interest in keeping real power out of the hands of their ordinary citizens. To this end, they have many different mechanisms by which they control the overwhelming majority of their media outlets. The Americans in particular have a perfection that art of creating made-up divisions between their two main parties, which are designed to hide the fact that both serve the same masters. There are some nations also possess technology that is far from advanced and you can imagine, and which is kept carefully hidden from public view. This includes advanced artificial intelligence, capable of undermining and deciding any election in the world, biological and chemical agents that can manipulate and control the thinking powers and behavior of citizens to terrifying degrees, highly sophisticated manipulation techniques using hypnotic practices entirely unknown to the public, and other things that I will not go into now. My point is that the great nations do not compete so much as work together. Their principal goal is to shield the true workings of the world from the uninitiated public. Let me return to the virus. Last year, large-scale anti-government protests erupted in Hong Kong. If you can remember. The Standing Committee of the Chinese Communist Party considered this to be a great threat to the integrity and stability of the motherland. The US government and EU both knew that the Chinese were secretly working on a biological agent that was supposed to make the protests docile and obedient. Without going into detail, I worked on the project. We tried to develop a sort of spray that could be dispersed from helicopters or drones, and that would lead to mental retardation and behavioral change. Guys, I was just reading this article. Disclaimer po. I was just reading this. And then I will be reacting on it afterwards. Let me continue. Naturally, as Hong Kong is one of the most open and international cities in the world, the party decided that it was too risky to release the agent in Hong Kong, without first testing it. For this, it needed a great number of human guinea pigs. Two groups were identified for this. First, we rounded up a large number of so-called Islamic radicals in Xinjiang province and took them to what we called training camps. We had already been using these camps for the human experimentation for several years. But the Hong Kong protest meant that we redoubled our efforts. We exposed the inmates for virus alpha experimental agents. As these were odorless and invisible, the subjects were not aware that they were taking part in medical trials. The resulting high rates of cancer, premature dementia, suicidal depression, and death by organ failure could easily be suppressed, as the camps are located in very remote parts of our motherland. Once the initial experiments had yielded a beta agent, it was transported to Hubei province, where it was deployed in a special military testing facility outside the city of Wuhan. This was not even a particularly well-kept secret. The existence of this facility has been reported in international news. Even the fact that it is located close to the wild animal market is a known fact. By then, quote-unquote, our president had already introduced a social credit system that allowed us to identify disloyal, counter-revolutionary, and bourgeois elements in our society. Using the social credit scores which are taken from online activity, electronic shopping behavior, and reports from informers in civil society, we selected some of the worst offenders. This included human rights lawyers and activists, Christians, homosexuals, foreign languages, and other undesirables. Once these troublemakers had been collected and placed in the testing facility, we exposed them to the agent, which is biochemical in nature and spread in an invisible aerosol, akin to certain viruses. Initial results were encouraging, as we saw significant cognitive decline and reduction in higher mental processing facilities. Essentially, our undesirables were becoming mildly mentally disabled, which is precisely the effect we wanted to produce in order to pacify the restive population in Hong Kong. Unfortunately, it quickly became apparent that the agent also had other effects. About 1 week after the retardation set in, our subjects developed majority anxiety and panic attacks. Eventually, they developed symptoms akin to those of paranoid schizophrenics. At these points, their bodies rapidly deteriorated. They developed massive internal bleeding and walls of their arteries dissolved. They bled out of their eyes and orifices, and their tissues disintegrated. To put in a more direct Western manner, they started to melt. That usually occurred through multiple organ failure. This was preceded by at least 5 days of severe agony, which could not be alleviated by painkillers. It was at this time that I first violated our protocol. One subject, an elderly lady who had published defamatory cartoons of our president, begged me for death, which such insistence that I took pity and shot her. I was reprimanded, but fortunately the complaint was dropped when I agreed to reimburse the cost of the bullet. I swore to myself never again to show such unnecessary emotion. We decided that our agent was unusable. It was far too destructive for our purposes. We wanted the population of Hong Kong to submit to us. We did not want to exterminate it. Naturally, our American friends had by then taken an interest in our work and asked for a sample for their own research and testing purposes. They hinted that they wished to use it to resolve certain difficulties in Venezuela. Normally, we would have agreed as we maintain friendly relations with the CIA. But given the extremely toxic nature of the agent, we declined. This is, as it turned out, was a grave mistake. The CIA was convinced that we had developed something very powerful and wanted to keep it to ourselves. They offered a great deal of money to one of our researchers. Foolishly, he agreed to sell them as specimen. He found out just in time for the handover and tried to stop it from happening. In the ensuing shootout, don't bother to look for it. In the ensuing shootout, don't bother to look for it in the news. It was never reported anywhere. Several dozen people were killed. More importantly, however, the agent escaped. The shootout took place at the wild animal market, which has been reported as the location of the animal-to-human transmission that started the outbreak. But of course, there was no such transmission. It was just the location where the CIA was supposed to receive the sealed vial containing the agent. The vial shattered when it was dropped by the traitor, who agreed to sell it to the Americans. By now, I understand you will be skeptical. If I really am who I say I am, why should I be sharing this information on the internet? Let me assure you that I am no friend of the Western system of governance. I love my motherland and I am loyal to the Communist Party. It has lifted hundreds of millions of my compatriots out of squalor and poverty. However, I am also a human being and I have a conscience. Most importantly, I have a wife and a son. Once we realized that the agent had escaped and would start to spread, we swiftly put all the Wuhan into lockdown. I was one of those tasked to manage the fallout of the contamination. Of course, we could not keep such a huge undertaking secret, so we decided to order our state media to report that a coronavirus had broken out in Wuhan. In reality, of course, there is no coronavirus. It was all made up. It was one of my colleagues who came up with the genius idea of pretending that people with the common flu suffered from the coronavirus. This allowed us to hide the true nature of the disease. Let me explain. It is currently flu season in China. When we realized that we could no longer control the spread of the agent, we sent our men to all the hospitals and instructed all doctors to diagnose every case of the common flu as coronavirus. We came up with a new name, 2019 ENCO, and handed out fact sheets that describe a made-up illness. The result of this decision was that tens of thousands of individuals who were simply suffering from a cold or flu were now diagnosed as having a mysterious coronavirus. But although infectious was not often lethal, while this frightened the public, it allowed us to push the narrative that the disease was not that deadly. It also gave us time to prepare for the catastrophe that was sure to come by imposing a lockdown on Wuhan and other cities in Hubei province. So guys, ayun, binasa ko lang tong article coming from Chinese intelligence officer reveals true magnitude of Chinese fake coronavirus. It was dated here February 13, 2020, pero ngayon ko lang siya nalaman. So ano ba tayo ngayon? Nasaan tayo? Ang Pilipinas nahawaan din ng dalawang coming two Chinese national coming from Wuhan na nakalusot sa Wuhan. At that time, hindi pa tayo naka-lockdown and carefree pa tayo. So, nakapasok sa Pilipinas ang dalawang Chinese national na to. And then the rest is history. Ito na, lockdown na rin tayo, kumalat na. But the fact pala, if this is true, coming from this article, the fact pala na hindi pala talaga to coronavirus. The Chinese government pala to eh. Ginawa nilang, tinawag nila tong coronavirus dahil kalat na ang flu season sa China. So, tinawag ito ng WHO, itong coronavirus as epidemic kasi it is already global problem. Now, the Philippines is also suffering a lockdown. Marami ng other nations nagla-lockdown. So, kung ito totoo, well, who knows? Kung totoo man yan o hindi, it is globally na apektado tayong lahat. All we can do is just to pray for the safety of our family and keep on washing our hands, all the safety measures. Kasi mula nung kumalat yung coronavirus na to, totoo naman maraming nahahawaan. So, kayo na ang humusga kung sa tingin ninyo, totoo ba ito na itong article na to o hindi. But for me, kung totoo man yan o hindi, malaking siya sa problem na binigay siya sa worldwide para sa kalusugan nating lahat. Yun lang muna ang aking i-react regarding sa ano na to, regarding dito sa article na nabasa ko. Maraming salamat sa inyong time na panonood. Ingat po tayong lahat. Keep safe.